Schwartz. We're here with Brian Schwartz, the owner and operator of Undisputed Boxing Gym in San Carlos, California, but also the trainer to 5 different boxers. Let's just go through a little bit of the roster. Let's jump back a few weeks to BKB with Tony Johnson. How did you feel about that fight? How do you feel about his development within that system and just in general?
You know, I thought Tony did great. You know, I think the BKB it's a different beast. It's a different, it's a completely different game. So, you know, not having a lot of experience in the pit it's going to take a little time to get used to. But I think he's adjusted nicely and to that new style of fighting. I think he's coming along really well with it.
It is a trip because it seems like it's very arbitrary. What's a knockdown? What isn't a knockdown? What does it mean? What does it mean when you get knocked into the outer circle?
Right.
Like all that stuff. I mean, how do you guys? Is it an ongoing conversation with BKB and the fight camps, the different champions?
Totally, and I think they're still learning. Not only BKB is learning, but the Nevada State Athletic Commission is learning too. Because depending on who your referee is going to depend on how they're calling the different rules. So I think I think as it progresses and as it develops over time, it'll be really more concrete in what's going on. But there's definitely some gray area right now with that, especially with that lip on the edge of the ring, whether it's a knockdown versus not.
Bruno Escalante was on a fast track. He was really moving towards a title shot. Got injured. Where does he stand right now? So
his hands at 100%. He's getting back at training, so we're hoping that he'll fight again in July, maybe early August at the latest. But I mean, I think he's ready to get back going. You know, he had surgery and went through the whole rehab. And the first week of training after he got the green light to go, he re-injured his hand. So he's definitely been delayed, but we think he's 100%. Doctors gave him a green light. We had another X-ray, and it shows 100% healed. So now it's just getting him back to where he was before he got injured.
Now Vic Cauley is watching. I love watching you guys work together. It seems he just has special fighter written all over him. The way his combinations flow, and I love the tempo, the way he works out, the intensity. Talk to me a little bit about him and his development with you guys. He's coming off a 4-round decision.
He came off a 4-round decision, and he's fighting again June 13th. We don't know who the opponent's going to be yet, but we just got a call yesterday that they want to fight him again. So he's ready. I mean, that kid's got so much energy and so much talent, and he's been boxing since he was 8. So he had almost 300 amateur fights. So he's very experienced. So now it's just kind of teach him the pro style and but he's a pleasure to work with. He he trains very hard and he's very enthusiastic and just like a sponge, just kind of waiting to absorb everything that we're teaching him.
He was telling me that just before he left. He's just still very much in love with boxing. Like he just eats and breathes it constantly. How do you take a guy like that seems like he's just very technically skilled already, got a lot of amateur experience, got some pro experience? What are you looking to do with him? Does it just continue kind of reinforcing all that technique, get him the tough fights so that we can kind of see where he's really at, get him that experience?
Yeah, and build his confidence. I think for Victor, because he was the amateur for so long, it's been a challenge to kind of learn that pro style, to kind of settle down, sit down on his punches, not move around. You can see how guys that make transitions, from that amateur style to the pro style, where they're sitting down on their punches and not moving around so much. But
he's got a few hundred fights.
Yeah. So I mean, it's taken some time, and he had some demons that he was dealing with down in LA. So it was for him to recognize, being so young, he was only 22. So recognizing that, moving his whole family, his wife and his 2 kids from LA up here to San Carlos, and almost kind of rebooting is a big step in him as a man and his character, and I think that you're going to see him go to the next level because of that. Just because of all the changes. He's really 100% investing in his career, which he wasn't so much down in Southern California. Kind of took it for granted a little bit.
Youth has a tendency to do that,
Yep.
especially when they're successful.
Sure.
He said too that he feels Yeah, we haven't quite seen the 100% of him, in that he's been kind of sporadic from, like, I think the last couple of years. That he hasn't fought very often. I think that's going to be key, is just getting him in there often, getting him.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think I think Top Rank had a plan for him when he turned pro, and then he had some troubles and wasn't going down the path exactly the way they had planned it. But now he's got a good team, supportive team, and he's realizing, like, hey, this is my opportunity to do something. So now he fought last month. He's going to fight again on the 13th, and knock on wood, if that goes well, then he's going to fight again in July 25th. So they're going to fight him a lot, and I think you're just going to see him get better and better, just with his experience, with more experience and confidence. He'll be able to do all the things he can do in the gym in the fight.
More relaxation. Where's Dan Marino at right now? What's coming up for him? That
poor guy, man. I tell you what, he is very talented. He's sparred with the best fighters in the world: Amir Khan, Andre Berto. And he just can't get a fight. He was Manny Pacquiao's sparring partner. He just can't get a fight. He doesn't have a promoter, so he needs a promoter. But it's just been hard for him to get on any type of roll. Because
it's not an easy night for anybody. He's technically skilled. He's fast.
That's right.
It's hard enough. And he's tough.
That's right. So prospects don't want to fight him, right? But then local promoters don't want to put him on either, because he's too experienced for the local guys. I mean, this guy was a top prospect for coming out of the amateurs. So I think
I've watched him for years. Although the gyms like SoCal.
Yeah.
Same problem down there.
So it's tougher. I feel it's a hard struggle. But he comes to the gym every day. He's training. So we're hoping that he's going to get an opportunity, and then he'll make the most of that, once that door opens for him.
He generally does. Whenever I see him trying to get a fight, it's an action fight. It may go the distance or whatever, but he just gives it his all.
And it's hard for him, right? Fight. Because the key to being successful is being active. So and he's just so inactive. He's fighting maybe once a year, and at that age, it's gonna be over before he gets going if he doesn't get a fight. So we're working with some different guys. Hopefully, a door's gonna open and we'll get in there. And then once he makes that impact, he'll be rolling.
Awesome. And last but not least, you've got Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson.
And you guys have just started your partnership here.
Yep.
You guys seem to have a nice rapport. I watched y'all do the workouts the last couple of times, and it just seems like you guys have a real easy way with each other. He talked about how you're bringing long range to his game because you're being an ex-fighter yourself and a long-range man. Why was that missing, do you think, from his game?
I don't know. I mean, he's 6'4", so, I mean, that should have been, it should have been, to me, I thought it should have been evident, but, yeah, but, and I think Willie, I think a lot of people don't know how skilled he really is. He's kind of known for banging and being tough and showing a lot of heart and making wars out of his fights. But the guy's a skilled boxer. He's got a great jab. He can move. Yeah. He's great. So I think what my whole thing was, I really wanted him to be a complete fighter. So utilizing his weapons, making sure that he is not just sitting there and trying to slug with guys, but showing that he can box, he can punch, he can defend, he has head movement, just kind of a complete package. And that's what we've been working on, and he's really taking to it. So I think when he fights on July 11th, I think you're going to see a completely different guy.
I haven't just noticed that I came across some footage of him. We did the GoPro footage the other day. There was GoPro footage of him from a few years ago.
Oh, yeah?
And I noticed he seemed a little more fluid, a lot more fluid, really, and the hands flowed a little bit more combinations.
Yeah, we're really trying to have him punch off his legs. He's, when he first came, he was just standing real upright and still, and punching really with his upper body. And we've been working on just, trying to get him to, shift his weight from leg to leg and making sure that he's punching with his whole body, because, that's where your power's coming from, is being able to generate that power from your hips. And he wasn't doing that. And now he is. And, I think that, with just a few little adjustments, he's gonna really move to the next level.
You guys were getting ready to have a fight, and then it got pushed back like 7 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
Blessing or curse?
Probably it could go either way. I mean, he was ready. He was getting ready, and we were gearing up for a fight, and to find out that it got delayed 4 weeks is it's frustrating. But we backed him off for a few days and let him rest, and he blew off some steam over the weekend. Now we have 6 weeks from starting. This week we have 6 weeks of training, and then the week of the fight. So we're 7 weeks out. We'll be ready. We'll be good. And it's giving him some more time for us to gel and click. And he's learning more about how we do things, and we'll be good.
It's the other thing, and today I was just remarking on it, like watching you had two people doing the hypoxic training while you guys were working in the gym, and it's all. I've been here since a little bit after you guys started doing it with Nonito, probably a year after that. Mm-hmm. And it was just felt like experimental. Now it's just like, oh, this is what we do. We got the snap dome and all that.
Totally.
7 weeks to do that with him, and he hasn't really had that much experience with it.
Yeah. I mean, we, just like anything, we're learning as we go. Every day is a learning experience. With Nonito, that was the first. This was all new. It was new for us to learn. It was new for Nonito. And Victor Conti was just getting into it, So we've kind of learned through what works and what hasn't worked, and have been able to step up and seen how much guys are able to take. Mike Basil's, he's the best with that stuff. He knows the hypoxic training forwards and backwards. So we're constantly writing different protocols and just evolving as we learn. We're definitely not people that feel like we know everything. Sure. We're trying to keep learning, and it's evident that our fighters are benefiting. They're learning, and they're getting better, and they're benefiting from everything that's happening.
Do you think ultimately that's what that's a good thing for the sport? It's what you guys are doing, because most of the gyms is kind of this, not to dog anybody else. Yeah. Everybody has their way, but when it comes to science, when it comes to nutrition and all that, hydrating guys, everybody's got a little bit of a closed mind. This could only benefit in the long run. The more successful you guys are, and having this kind of scientific approach, the better it's going to be.
Yeah, I think boxing is interesting, right? Because ultimately, you guys know what they know, and we know what we know, and I know what I've known from being an ex-fighter. But what I feel like a lot of people are closed-minded to learning from other people, because the egos are involved and stuff. And I feel like something that we do well is that we're open to learning. I respect people, the other people and what they do, and Basil, he respects the different trainers and cutmen, and we're willing to learn from them. We're definitely not people that feel like we know everything, and if we can just add more tools to our belt, then it's just going to benefit us in the end, And then we have Victor Conti with us, who he might know everything, So at least as far as nutrition and science goes, I haven't met anyone that really knows more than him. So we're constantly learning from him, and I feel like he's just a great weapon in our corner that that's constantly helping us. And he's just so.
It's a trippy weapon to have. But...
Yeah, and something that you don't really think of. Boxing's so old and traditional. But now we're looking at science of training and resting and knowing when to have green light days, and it's like boxers don't think like that. The old days, it's 2 days, 6 days a week, and starve yourself to make the weight, sweat it out, and in you go, right? But we're learning it's not really like that. It's listening to your body, making sure you're hydrated, and nutrition's such a huge factor, and it's a complete science to train, not just the physical, but the mental and the nutrition aspect as well.